Stanford University's independent student newspaper is filing a lawsuit against two Trump administration officials claiming some of its writers in the U.S. on student visas have, quote, self-censored to avoid being targeted for deportation. The lawsuit is against Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. The lawsuit claims their immigration enforcement moves against outspoken students have chilled their speech.
So the student newspaper says that its writers present on student visas have declined assignments tied to Israel's war in Gaza, including coverage of campus protests, worried that their reporting could endanger their legal status. Some writers have sought removal of previous articles about the conflict as well.
Joining us now again, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes, to talk about the merits of this lawsuit. Khalif, when we look at this, I mean, there are valid concerns from these students, but they have enough for a lawsuit.
Well, I got two things for you. You can't put baby in the corner, that's for sure. And you cannot chill speech without having a couple of hurdles jumped over, specifically compelling public interest, and it needs to be narrowly tailored. And that's what's called strict scrutiny. If you're attempting to chill or stop or limit a person's speech in a public setting, that's what the government would have to be able to prove, that this was the most narrowly tailored way for us to do this, and we have some compelling interest. So on the government side, what is the compelling interest? It's in their argument, national security, and on the other side, for the students, it's that your compelling interest is not connected to a legitimate concern, because we're writing about things that are in the free press portion. So there's this argument, I think, has a couple of hurdles for both sides. I think on the student side, while I think that their speech is being chilled, the court will want to know, has it already been chilled, or is it the potential to be chilled? So you have to have standing, and you have to have what's called an injury in fact. So if you did some type of negative thing towards me individually, and because I was speaking, then I could say, yes, you have chilled my speech, and because you've chilled my speech, the negative ramifications are, now I've lost employment, or I'm not able to do whatever I was doing before. But this is saying that I can potentially be harmed because of the things that they have done towards other students. Now I am making the decision on my own not to go to engage in this activity because I don't want those things to happen to me. While the court can say that now has also had a chilling effect on your speech, it's not as strong as it would have been as if they already have been harmed.
You've got student journalists here that are self-censoring. I mean, we even said they're going as far as to quit, right? So what's like the real world impact here from something like this? Now, when you look at campus media, public dialogue, what's the impact here? I
mean, this is a larger impact, because this is the next generation of folks that will do jobs like this. These are the next generation of folks that will be out in the world trying to report on the things that they're seeing. And so you don't want to have a journalist that is now fearing the repercussion from some big brother of telling the story. You want to ensure that they tell the story accurately without fear of repercussion. And that's why we have these protections there for folks to tell the stories. And so if you have now ingrained in these individuals' mind that, hey, I can tell the story, but I got to worry if I'm going to get arrested or deported or detained or kicked out of school or kicked out of a program, now it puts that in the back of your mind. Should I tell the whole story? Should I tell part of the story? And it taps into that misinformation and disinformation that's already happening, where people are distrusting just these type of entities as well. So legacy type of media stations will now have a generation of folks that have went through this fear of reprisal for telling the truth.
Well, it's not just a fear and looking at what could potentially happen. We've already seen it happen with some major news organizations where maybe they've been outspoken about the situation in the Middle East, and those organizations have chose to move on from them. Are there any protections for journalists and say, hey, if I write an article, I say something on air, and my parent company doesn't agree to it, they let me go? I mean, at the end of the day, you are still an employee, right?
100%. And so the first thing is, I mean, if someone is attempting to chill, and that's someone the government's, and you're in that free press scenario, you'd have the First Amendment protections. Now, in employment protections, that's a little bit different. If the company decides to go a different route, I mean, depending on where you're at, you would have the right to either be terminated as an at-will employee. Now, if you have some type of union protections, that there may be protections in place for that. But I think the chilling effect is not just the institution, and as you hit, I mean, the individuals, but it's also the institutions. You have institutions that are now deciding to not talk about certain topics
Right.
with fear of presidential repercussions, where we're not going to make a presidential selection this year because I don't want to get on the good side or the bad side of someone down the road. Those are the types of things that before weren't happening. Regarding these students, I think this is a good step. The other thing I say about speech is on the school level, the case law is pretty strong for schools having the ability to chill student speech on a higher level. But this isn't the school chilling the speech. This is the government attempting to chill their speech. So I'd like to watch and see how the court takes this one up.
We'll see how far it makes it. Yeah. Khalif, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.